Hey everyone, it's Tomek from Soccer Bedtime Stories. If you enjoy our stories and think they are worth your hard-earned money, please consider supporting us on Buzzsprout at bit.ly/Soccer Bedtime Stories. That's bit.ly/Soccer Bedtime Stories. Or just look for us on Buzzsprout. Just $3 a month will give you special access to fan art, newsletters, shoutouts, and other community benefits. By supporting the show, you support us and allow us to keep our show ad-free and accessible for soccer-loving kids and adults around the globe. As always, we love to hear from you. Continue to reach out, leave reviews. Hope you enjoy the story. Sleep well and dream big, friend.
Hello there, soccer friends. Tonight, we are sending special greetings to everyone listening in Georgetown, Guyana, Milpitas, California, Rotonda, West Florida, and Haley, Idaho. And before our story begins, we have a very special belated birthday message for our soccer friend Henry, listening all the way from Australia. Happy birthday, Henry. We hope your day is filled with laughter, joy, and of course, plenty of soccer. Now, take a deep breath, pull your blanket close, rest your head upon your pillow and close your eyes. Let us travel to a place where the grass is green and the crowds are loud, a place where flags and banners ripple beneath the summer sky, where thousands of voices rise together and where one final kick of the ball can turn a player into a legend. And if you enjoyed tonight's story, remember to follow Soccer Bedtime Stories, share the podcast with another soccer family, and join our Bedtime Ballers community for even more stories from the beautiful game. For tonight, we are traveling to the summer of 2026, when the World Cup came to North America and Spain arrived carrying both great expectations and an unfinished dream. They had already conquered Europe. Now they wanted to conquer the world. This is the story of Rodri, the midfielder who seemed to control time. It is the story of Lamine Yamal, the teenager who played without fear. It is the story of Nico Williams, whose family's extraordinary journey carried him all the way to the World Cup final. It's the story of Mikel Oyarzabal, the quiet leader who helped hold Spain's attack together. And it is the story of Mikel Merino, who waited patiently for his opportunity. Ultimately, it is the story of an entire team, a nation, that discovered that sometimes the greatest victories do not belong to one hero. They belong to the team. They belong to everyone. Once upon a World Cup, Spain win the FIFA World Cup. Long before Spain arrived in North America, their coach, Luis de la Fuente, had spent years helping young Spanish players prepare for this moment exactly like this one. De la Fuente was not one of the famous club managers whose face appeared on giant billboards. During his playing days, he had been a hard-working defender for Athletic Club. When his career ended, he began coaching young players. He led Spain's under-19 team, then the under-21 team, and then the Olympic team. Many of the players who would eventually represent Spain at the World Cup had already trained under him when they were younger. He knew how they responded to pressure. He knew who needed encouragement, who needed responsibility, and who might be ready to change a match from the bench. Under De La Fuente, Spain won the UEFA Nations League in 2023 and the European Championship in 2024. By 2026, they had become one of the favorites to win the World Cup. But De La Fuente knew that being a favorite did not guarantee anything. Spain had learned that lesson before. In 2010, they arrived at the World Cup as European champions and lost their opening match to Switzerland. Many people immediately doubted them. Spain recovered, playing in style, and eventually won the tournament when Andres Iniesta scored during the extra time in the final against the Netherlands. 16 years later, Spain entered another World Cup as European champions, and once again, their journey began with a surprise. Their first opponent was Cabo Verde, a country playing in its first World Cup. Spain passed the ball across the field. Rodri moved into space, received it, and sent it toward the attackers. Pedri and Gavi searching for openings. Lamine Yamal drifted toward the right wing, hoping to face defender one-on-one. But Cape Verde remained organized. Whenever Spain moved forward, another defender appeared. Whenever Yamal turned toward goal, the space closed. Whenever Spain attempted a final pass, a Cabo Verdean foot blocked the way. Mikel Oyarzabal led Spain's attack, moving between defenders and attempting to create room for his teammates. Oyarzabal was not a traditional center forward who waited near the goal for crosses. He dropped deeper, pulled defenders away, and helped Spain connect its midfield to its attack. He had spent years becoming one of the most trusted players in Spanish soccer. Born in Basque Country, Oyarzabal had grown into a leader at Real Sociedad. He was known for his intelligence, discipline, and the ability to help a team in many different positions. He did not always demand attention. He did not need every attack to end with the ball at his feet. Instead, he studied the movement of defenders and searched for ways to make the players around him more dangerous. Against Cabo Verde, however, even Oyarzabal struggled to find space. For 90 minutes, Spain controlled the ball without controlling the result. The final whistle sounded. Spain 0. Cabo Verde 0. Across the soccer world, the people went wild, celebrating Cabo Verde, but also asking questions of the Spanish team. Was Spain too slow? Did they have enough scoring power? Could they really win a World Cup without a superstar striker? Was Rodri fully healthy? Had other teams discovered how to stop them? The result reminded some of Spain's opening defeat in 2010. But inside the Spanish dressing room, there was no panic. Rodri sat calmly among his teammates. He had built his career by remaining calm while everyone around him hurried. As a young player, Rodri had not always been viewed as a future superstar. He was tall and intelligent, yet he was not the fastest player on the field. He did not race past defenders or score spectacular goals every week. Instead, he learned to see the game before it happened. He studied where his teammates were moving. He noticed where opponents left empty space. He understood when a match needed to become faster and when it needed to slow down. At Villarreal, Atletico Madrid, and Manchester City, Rodri became the player who protected the defense and guided the attack. When opponents pressed him, he rarely appeared frightened. When the crowd became nervous, he continued passing. When the match became chaotic, he restored order. After the draw with Cabo Verde, Spain needed exactly that kind of calm. De La Fuente made changes. Alex Baena entered the team and stretched the field. Dani Olmo moved between the opposing midfield and defense. Spain's fullbacks pushed higher, their passes became quicker and more direct. Spain still wanted to keep the ball. Now, however, they also wanted the ball to travel forward. Against Saudi Arabia, the difference was clear. Spain moved from side to side, up and down, and the movement had purpose. Baena raced down the wing, Olmo found pockets of space. Oyarzabal pulled defenders away from the center. Yamal received the ball with room to turn. Spain scored once, then twice, then again. By the time the match ended, Spain had won 4-0. The doubts had not disappeared completely, but Spain had found its rhythm. Their final group opponent was Uruguay, a proud and physical team that knew Spain wanted time and space. Uruguay planned to give them neither. The tackles arrived quickly. Players collided in midfield. Every loose ball became a battle. Nico Williams entered the tournament carrying an injury, and he had begun Spain's opening matches on the bench. Against Uruguay, another difficult tackle brought another setback. Nico had spent his life learning how to continue moving forward after hardship. Years before he was born, his parents, Felix and Maria, left Ghana in search of a safer and more hopeful future. Their journey was long and dangerous. They crossed part of the Sahara Desert, traveling through extreme heat, while Maria was pregnant with Nico's older brother, Iñaki. Eventually, the family reached Spain and settled in Pamplona. Felix and Maria worked long hours to provide for their children. As Iñaki grew older, he helped care for Nico while chasing his own soccer dreams. The brothers spent countless hours playing together. Iñaki became Nico's protector, teacher, and first great soccer hero. Years later, both brothers would play for Athletic Club. They wore the same red and white jersey for their club, but different colors for their countries. Iñaki represented Ghana, Nico represented Spain. Nico developed into one of Europe's most exciting wingers. His speed frightened defenders, and yet his greatest gift was his courage. When he received the ball, he wanted to attack. He did not hide from difficult moments. He helped Athletic Club de Bilbao win the Copa del Rey and played a major role in Spain's European Championship victory in 2024. At the World Cup, however, his body refused to cooperate. The tackle against Uruguay forced him out of the team again. Spain continued without him. They managed to defeat Uruguay 1-0, and they won their group and advanced to the newly created round of 32. 3 group matches had passed. Spain had not conceded a goal. That defensive strength belonged to more than the defenders. Rodri protected the space in front of them. The attackers pressed opponents when Spain lost possession. Laporte organized the back line with experience and calm. Beside him stood Pau Cubarsí, a young defender who had played as though he had been preparing for the World Cup his entire life. Marc Cucurella and Pedro Porro raced forward from fullback but recovered quickly when Spain lost the ball. And behind them stood Unai Simon. Many people had wondered whether Simon would even be Spain's starting goalkeeper. David Raya had enjoyed a brilliant club season and John Garcia had also impressed. But De La Fuente trusted Simeone. The goalkeeper rarely needed to make spectacular saves because Spain allowed so few shots. His most important work often happened far from his goal. Whenever an opponent sent a long pass behind Spain's defense, Simon charged from his penalty area and cleared the danger before an attacker could reach it. Spain's first knockout opponent was Austria. And this time, there was no hesitation. Pedro, Porro, and Cucurella flew down the wings. Olmo turned between defenders. Rodri controlled the center. Oyarzabal moved intelligently across the attacking line, and Spain won 3-0. It was their finest performance of the tournament so far. In the round of 16, Spain and Portugal. The two neighbors knew each other well. Portugal closed the spaces, defended patiently, and waited for an opportunity to counterattack. Minutes passed. The score remained level. Oyarzabal chased passes, pressed defenders, and made run after run without receiving the reward of a goal. Still, he continued. Let's take a quick break at the half. If tonight's story has you hooked, be sure to check out our book, Soccer Mystery Chronicles: The Haunting of St. Mary's Stadium. It's the perfect mix of ghostly secrets, Premier League lore, and sibling sleuthing starring Zosha and Franya. You can find it on Amazon or at soccerbedtimestories.com. And if you want to help us keep telling these stories, become a bedtime baller. It's like getting a warm meat pie and crisps at halftime. A small gift that makes a big difference. Now, let's get back to the pitch. That was his value to Spain. Oyarzabal's work allowed other players to move into dangerous positions. His runs created space for Yamal and Olmo. His pressing prevented Portugal from building attacks comfortably. Late in the match, Spain finally found a way through. The ball reached the net. Spain won 1-0. For the first time since 2010, Spain had reached a World Cup final, and their opponent would be Belgium. Nico Williams worked desperately to return from injury. He had missed Spain's victories over Austria and Portugal, forced to watch from the sidelines as his teammates moved deeper into the tournament. Now he was ready to help again. Spain took the lead against Belgium, but for the first time in the entire World Cup, their defense broke. Charles de Ketelaere found a way past Unai Simon. The score was level. The Spanish players looked at one another. They had not trailed, but suddenly the match had become dangerous. Belgium believed. The crowd grew louder. Rodri gathered his teammates and slowed the moment down. There was still time. Spain did not need to abandon its plan. They needed to trust it. Fresh players entered, and among them was Mikel Merino. Mikel Merino had grown up around soccer. His father, Miguel, had also been a professional player, and Mikel followed him into the game. He began his career at Osasuna before playing in Germany and England. Along the way, he experienced difficult seasons and learned to adapt to new countries, new teams, and new expectations. Merino became known for arriving at exactly the right time. He was strong in the air. He understood where rebounds might fall. He could defend, pass, and make late runs into the penalty area. He was also willing to wait. Not every player enjoys starting on the bench, especially at a World Cup. Merino understood that waiting did not mean doing nothing. From the sideline, he watched, he studied, he searched for spaces that might open when defenders became tired. Against Belgium, Spain continued pushing. A late chance arrived. Spain scored, and they won 2-1. The unbeaten journey continued. Only France remained between Spain and the World Cup final. France entered the semi-final with one of the most frightening attacks in the tournament. Kylian Mbappe could race beyond a defense in an instant. Ousmane Dembele could dribble in either direction. Michael Olise could create a goal from almost nothing. For much of the tournament, Spain had been favored. Against France, many believed that they had finally met a team with even more attacking power. But Spain did not attempt to outrun France. They controlled them. Rodri in the midfield kept the ball away from dangerous areas. Laporte and Cubarsí remained close together. Simon raced from his goal whenever France attempted a long pass. Lamine Yamal demanded the attention of several defenders. Yamal had grown up in Rocafonda, a neighborhood in Mataró near Barcelona. His family roots stretched to Morocco and Equatorial Guinea. But the soccer fields of Catalonia became his classroom. He joined Barcelona's famous academy and rose through the youth teams with astonishing speed. Before most teenagers had finished school, Yamal was playing for Barcelona and Spain. At Euro 2024, he helped his country become champion while only 16 years old. By the 2026 World Cup, he had already been compared to Lionel Messi countless times. Those comparisons brought excitement, but they also brought pressure. Every touch was examined. Every quiet match became a question. Every brilliant moment created even greater expectations. Yamal entered the World Cup recovering from an injury. He did not collect the goals and assists some people expected, but his influence could be seen every time he received the ball. Defenders moved toward him. Midfielders shifted across the field. Space opened somewhere else. Against France, Yamal played with the same courage that had carried him from Roccafonda to the world's greatest stage. Spain won 2-0. Pedro Porro completed a brilliant move with Dani Olmo. The Spanish defense stopped one of the world's most dangerous attacks. Spain reached the World Cup final for only the second time in its history. And their reward? Their opponent, Argentina, the defending champion, the team of Lionel Messi. On July 19th, 2026, more than 80,000 supporters filled MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Blue and white Argentina shirts covered one side of the stadium, red Spain shirts covered the other. The noise rolled down from the stands like thunder. Yamal stood on one side of the field, Messi stood on the other. One was 19 years old and still beginning his journey. The other had spent 2 decades become one of soccer's greatest players. But Spain's story had never belonged to only one person. The match began, and Spain controlled possession. Argentina waited. Rodri moved the ball across midfield, almost searched between the lines. Yamal attempted to turn toward goal. Oyarzabal continued making the quiet, intelligent runs. Argentina defended deeper and deeper. When Spain approached the penalty area, another blue and white shirt closed the space. The first half passed without a goal, then the second. Argentina became more physical. Leandro Paredes entered the match and quickly received a yellow card. Enzo Fernandez was shown a second yellow and sent off the field. Argentina was down to 10 players. Still, Spain could not score. 90 minutes ended. Spain 0, Argentina 0, 0-0. Now extra time began. On the Spanish sideline, several players waited. Nico Williams had fought through injury to return. Mikel Merino had spent the tournament preparing for his moment. Ferran Torres knew he might receive only one chance. De La Fuente called upon them. Oyarzabal had worked tirelessly, pressing defenders and creating space for more than an hour. Now Ferran replaced him at the front of Spain's attack. Oyarzabal walked from the field knowing he had given everything. Spain had reached the edge of history with its starters, and to cross the final step, they would need the players waiting beside the field. Nico immediately attacked Argentina's tired defenders. Merino moved toward the penalty area. Ferran searched for a yard of space. Pedri lifted a pass toward Nico, but the winger could not make clean contact. Nico then crossed toward Merino. Merino rose and flicked a header just wide. The clock continued moving. The dreaded penalties crept closer. Then Pedro Porro received the ball on the right. He looked toward the penalty area and sent a high cross toward the back post. The pass traveled slightly farther than he intended. For a moment it appeared the chance might disappear. But Nico Williams was there. Nico jumped, and rather than attempting a difficult shot, he guided the ball toward the center. The header floated across the penalty area. Ferran Torres moved toward it, swung his foot, The ball exploded past Emiliano Martinez, the Argentinian goalie, and into the net. Goal. Spain had scored in the 106th minute. Ferran sprinted toward the corner. His teammates chased him. The Spanish supporters erupted. 16 years earlier, Andres Iniesta had scored in extra time to give Spain its first World Cup. Now Ferran Torres had done the same. The goal belonged to more than Ferran. It belonged to Porro, who had continued pushing forward from defense. It belonged to Nico, who had recovered from injury and won the header. It belonged to Oyarzabal, who had spent opening 75 minutes battling Argentina's defenders. It belonged to Merino, whose movement forced the defenders to protect another part of the penalty area. It belonged to every Spanish player who had carried the team this far. Argentina finally pushed forward, searching for an equalizer. Rodri organized the midfield. Laporte and Cubarsí protected the penalty area. Cucurella and Porro closed the wings. Simon remained prepared behind them. The final minutes disappeared. Then the referees raised the whistle to his lips. The sound cut through the stadium. The match was over. Spain had defeated Argentina 1-0. Spain were champions of the world. The players collapsed to the grass. Some cried, some laughed, some simply stared into the stands, trying to understand what they had accomplished. Spain had played 8 matches. They had won 7 and drawn 1. They had conceded only a single goal, and they had never trailed. They had surpassed Italy's record unbeaten run in international soccer, and with Spain's women's team having won the World Cup in 2023, Spain now held both the men's and women's world titles. Rodri received the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player. His victory was not built on endless goals or spectacular dribbles. It was built on intelligence, patience, positioning, leadership. He had controlled the speed of Spain's journey from the opening draw against Cape Verde to the final whistle against Argentina. Pau Cubarsí was celebrated as one of the tournament's great young players. Yamal carried enormous expectations and continued asking for the ball. Merino had shown the power of being ready. Oyarzabal had given Spain structure, movement, leadership, and countless moments of unselfish work. Torres had scored the goal that would be remembered forever. But perhaps the most beautiful moment came after the medals had been handed out. Nico Williams searched through the crowd until he found his mother, Maria. Years earlier, she and Felix had crossed deserts and borders searching for a better future for their family. They had worked long hours, they had sacrificed. They had watched Iñaki and Nico grow from 2 boys chasing a ball into professional players representing 2 different countries. Nico walked toward his mother. Then he removed the World Cup winner's medal from around his neck, and he placed it around hers. Medals shone beneath the stadium lights. It belonged to Nico. Yet, it also belonged to Maria, to Felix, to Iñaki, to every difficult step that had brought their family from Ghana to Pamplona, from Pamplona to Bilbao, and from Bilbao to a World Cup final in New Jersey. Soon the Spanish players gathered around the trophy. De La Fuente stood among the players he had known, many of them since they were teenagers. He had trusted them, he had trusted the starters, he had trusted the substitutes. He had trusted everyone would be ready when their moment arrived. The captain lifted the World Cup above his head. Golden confetti filled the air. Spain were champions again. And so, soccer friends, when you dream tonight, remember the lesson of Spain's jersey. Some heroes lead from the first whistle, some wait beside the field, some score the winning goals. Others make the pass, win the header, create the space, block the shot, or give their teammates the courage to continue. You may not always know when your moment will arrive, but you can prepare for it. You can support those around you. You can continue working even when no one is watching. Because when a team truly believes in one another, Every player's journey becomes part of something greater. And sometimes, the road that begins with disappointments ends beneath the sky filled with golden confetti. Sleep well and dream big, soccer friends.
Thanks for joining us under the stars. If tonight's story brought you joy, here are 3 simple ways to keep the magic going. 1. Become a bedtime baller. Support the podcast for the cost of a stadium churro or a match day snack at soccerbedtimestories.com. You can find the link in the show notes as well. 2. Follow us on Instagram at MySoccerBedtime. We'd love to see where you listen, who your favorite players are, or even what bedtime looks like at your house. 3. Read the biggest soccer adventure so far. Grab a Soccer Mystery Chronicles, The Haunting of St. Mary's Stadium, and dive into the world of haunted tunnels, hidden relics, and brave sisters solving the game's greatest mystery. With your support, we'll keep telling the stories that help kids and adults fall asleep dreaming of goals, teamwork, and faraway stadiums. Sleep well and dream big, soccer friends.